Here from Ledbury, Maine. Welcome to my TikTok channel. Today I'm going to be taking you guys through the inoculation of our Lion's Mane mushrooms. What we've got here is we have a Wolf's Bloom Lion's Mane grain spawn. This is on popcorn, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I go through my process. But before I get going, I first have to get dressed up properly so that I can have everything proper, and yeah, we have to have a sterile and clean environment for the inoculation process. So I'm going to be taking you guys step by step through this process today. So let me just show you guys to make sure that our lion's mane doesn't get any contamination in while we're inoculating. I dress up like I'm going into theatre. So I've got this bad boy here, covering myself up completely, because you never know, there might be some contaminants that is actually getting stuck to your clothes, and you walk in from outside, and then at the end of the day you bring those contaminants in. And I don't want to have any contaminants in my lion's mane sawdust that I'm going to be using. So I've got this on, and then I'm going to be putting on my hairnet. So I'm going to look like I'm going into theatre completely. And then last but not least, I also wear a mask. Now the reason why I wear a mask when I'm doing the inoculation is I don't want to breathe in any of the lion's mane spores and stuff. Okay, there's no spores in the grain spawn, but still I can breathe out, and I don't want any germs in my sawdust that I'm using while I'm doing the inoculation. So there we go. Now I'm going to look properly like I'm going into theatre. There we are. So all dressed up, ready for my inoculation. And then I've got my alcohol spray here. So I'm just going to spray my hands and everything to make sure that I'm clean and I don't have any germs that I spread over to my sawdust while I'm actually inoculating it with the grain spawn. Now, like I told you guys, this Wolf's Bloom Lion's Mane grains is actually something that I've only recently started using. Very, very excited about this grains. It is imported and it is a new strain that I'm trying out. I've always been using the Lion's Pride, but I'm very excited about these babies. The Wolf's Bloom is known for it's more aggressive when it grows, and also it's much more tolerant to higher and lower heats, and that is exactly what we need here. I am based in the Northwest Province, and we do get quite high temperatures in the summer. So, sorry, this is getting hot. With the summer temperatures, we also want to make sure that I actually keep my lion's mane growing at the temperatures that it's supposed to grow. So lion's mane like to grow between 18 and 21 degrees when they're in growing, but when I'm in incubation phase, it's between 21 and 24 degrees Celsius. Now I'm close to the Hartbeespoort and this side of the mountain, it can get up to 40 degrees Celsius, very, very hot. So you guys can see here behind me the blue room. Now this is like a cold room that we have designed. You will see I do have some of the videos on my YouTube channel as well as here on TikTok where I show you guys how we built this cold room so that we know we can actually control the temperatures in here properly. So behind this is polystyrene. It's a 50 ml polystyrene, and behind it we've got a frame and we've got insulation that you normally put into your roofs as well, so that we can really get this grow room and incubation room for my lion's mane quite controlled. Then on the outside I've got a big polystyrene box where I put some ice blocks in. We're totally off grid. We only work with solar on the farm, and I need to cool down the air from outside when it comes in. Let me just turn this camera a little bit there to the wall. You can see there's a ducting fan pipe coming in there. Now this is my incubation room, so I don't have extractor fan because there's no CO2 being created in the incubation room. But then what comes through that pipe is from the outside. There's very big polystyrene boxes where we put some ice in it, and we also have some charcoal with some water running over the charcoal because that cools down the air. And now instead of having a aircon that brings in the cold air into the grow room and into the incubation room, that system works like an aircon. And that is exactly what we are using here. So yes, it's quite exciting. I've tried and have been playing around with lion's mane mushrooms over the past year. I had a lot of failures because of the high heat that we've got here. And then eventually we resulted in building this cold room to make sure that we can really grow the mushrooms straight through the year in the right temperatures that it needs. So I also have my Sonoff controller boxes to make sure that when the heat starts climbing up, more cold air flow into the room. And then I also have my ultrasonic mister in the grow room, and I put 5 kilograms blocks of ice in that water where the ultrasonic mister is in, and that cools down the air immensely. So with a lot of experimenting, I really had a lot of the mushrooms failing. I've grown so many mold, different colors of the rainbow, from a bright orange to a pink to a black to a green. I've grown so much mold before I actually managed to start growing my lion's mane mushrooms properly. But yes, at last we have success. We have harvested all the last ones that we had, and 2 weeks ago we started with the new batches. We cleaned out the grow rooms, the incubation room, everything. So it's all fresh new batches that we've got in. And the batches that I'm using now is the Wolf's Bloom. It's the first time for me using the Wolf's Bloom lion's mane strain that I've got. And I must say it is already showing aggressive growth. The bags that we've inoculated on the 18th and the 19th is almost fully populated with the mycelium already. After I do this inoculation, I'll show you guys some of that as well. It is just growing so fast. Exactly what they said Wolf's Bloom is supposed to do. And yes, I do see the difference. I used to use Lion's Pride or the Pride lion's mane strain before, and now that I'm using the Wolf's Bloom, I'm already seeing a difference. I haven't had any fruit. It's brand new for me to start using it. Like I said, I inoculated my first bags 2 weeks ago, and now I'm doing the next batch that I'm doing with it. And already I just see in the way that the substrate is populating. The speed of how it's populating is just crazy. How quick it goes. And I'm super excited about it because that is going to increase my production so much more. Now, I do not have laminar flow hoods. I do not have fancy lab equipment or anything like that. I'm doing my lion's mane farming with as little of resources that I actually have, and that is affordable as well. And yes, I must say, after trial and errors, at last I've got great success. I had previous harvests and everything is growing beautifully. Now this room that I'm in now is completely sealed off. I have switched off that airflow that come in as well. So this is almost like a big still air box. I used to use a still air box in the past, but it's so small. If I have to inoculate a lot of bags of substrate like what I've got now, it's just impossible to work in a small little still air box. And then I decided, well, let's try it and see what happens if I just do it in this room. I firstly blow in some clean air. It also goes through a HEPA filter from the outside indoors, and then creating a positive airflow, pushing out all contaminants that might be in the room through the door. The door's got a little space at the top that I can open, and then it blows out all the air, and then I switch everything off, and then I sterilize everything first before I do anything. And like you guys can see, I'm dressed up so that anything that's on my clothes also that I bring in from the outside, I don't want to bring anything in here. I want to keep this area as sterile as possible, and I have success with it. People say they don't understand. I've had some comments before. Sorry, let me just get some water. On how can I inoculate like this and don't have contamination. I do still get some contamination. I think whenever you're growing mushrooms, you will always get contamination. However, I don't throw away blocks and blocks of substrate anymore since I've been doing it like this. So like I said, this room is sealed off. It is literally like as a big still air box, and then I clean everything. You guys can see I've got my shelf there at the back. My substrate that I'm actually gonna inoculate now was on that shelf, and before I've put them on here, let me just move my camera. So as I moved the substrate from the shelf, I first wiped everything off with a bleach solution. So everything is clean. The table and everything was wiped off. The floor was washed with a bleach solution. Everything was wiped off clean before I even start opening any bags. So that way I make sure that I keep a cleaner, sterile environment for my grains when I'm doing the inoculation. And that's the only way that I can do it. If you go and watch some videos on YouTube and even on TikTok, how people do it in other countries, some people are sitting outside inoculating their substrate outdoors with great success. Now, if other people can do it that way, why can't I? And that is the way that I was thinking about my entire mushroom growing process. I watched so many videos of what people are doing up in Africa, in India, in China. I think there isn't a lion's mane growing video on YouTube that I haven't watched before, because that's how I learned. And that is why I also decided I will share my journey with you guys, so that you can also learn from my mistakes, from my successes. Sorry guys, all the talking. Yeah, and hopefully it can encourage somebody else to also want to start growing mushrooms. I've designed this room, and I've, like I say, really making sure that I can control the temperatures in here, because the summer gets hot. With Northwest Harties area, it gets very hot. So yes, I have to control my temperatures because lion's mane is so sensitive and don't like the heat. I had to do something to be able to do it. I decided I'd only want to focus on lion's mane mushrooms. I've played around with king oysters, I've played around with oyster mushrooms, but at the end of the day, I personally love lion's mane mushrooms. It is an amazing meat alternative. It's amazing in all kinds of dishes, and for that purpose, I really want to focus only on lion's mane. I decided I don't want to diversify at the moment, because I first want to perfect something and just specialize in lion's mane only. And I'm not growing this for medicinal purposes. There's so many guys out there in the market where you can get your supplements. Your lion's mane is amazing for your brain functions, and it's also with all kinds of tests that they say it actually let the neurons in your brain grow again. However, as a culinary delicacy, that is what I'm going for. I love lion's mane steaks. I love lion's mane mushrooms in different dishes, because the texture of the mushroom is so much different, and it's such a diverse mushroom that you can create so many different dishes with lion's mane. You can create from crab cakes, imitating crab or seafood. It's amazing for that. I will be sharing some recipes and show you guys how I cook it going forward as well, because I really love having that in place. And yes, I think it would be great if I can share how I actually cook my lion's mane with some people, so that you can also try it out. And then also, as lion's mane steak, 2 weeks ago I marinated my lion's mane, and then we had it on the braai. And one of our friends' little boy is 8 years old, and you know, children don't normally like mushrooms. He didn't know it's a mushroom. We braaied it, and then he asked me, what meat is this? Because this is amazing, and he loved it. And he left the meat for the lion's mane mushrooms. So yes, it's a completely different texture that you will get from a lion's mane mushroom. For example, if you compare it with any other mushrooms, it's a total different type of mushroom. The texture is so much different, and it's actually divine. Yeah, so like I say, I'm going to be inoculating my grain spawns here, or my substrate. I just want to make sure, like I told you guys, I've already wiped everything off with the bleach solution. But before I get going, I also make sure that I also have my alcohol solution. The reason why I'm using the alcohol solution is it's also sterilizing and killing the germs. And with that way, I can make sure that whatever else is on here, I get everything clean. So I'm going to be putting on my mask now, so I don't like to talk over my bags while I'm inoculating it. And before I open my grains, I want to make sure that everything is just with a quick wipe down again with my alcohol, so that I know it's that extra step that I put in. Maybe it's not needed because they're already wiped down with bleach solution, but I just like to take that extra precaution to make sure that my environment is as clean as possible, because I don't have a laminar float. I don't have all those fancy equipment. It's very expensive to get it. And like I say, I've tried it in so many different ways, so many different times to actually get everything going, and everything has been working successfully for me so far. Not everything. I've been throwing away almost hundreds of bags of substrate before I got to the point where I actually managed to grow my lion's mane mushrooms. And yes, I still get contamination. You never know. So what do I grow my mushrooms in? Lion's mane is a hardwood lover, so naturally it grows on hardwood. So you have to inoculate the grains into a hardwood. I'm using blue gum. I've heard so many different people and different stories, and you can go and read up about it. People say you can't use pine, you can't use blue gum, recommendations. Each mushroom farmer will find what is working for them. And if you're a mushroom farmer, you have your ways of doing your things that works for you. Now, I've experimented with blue gum. I get it for free, and I basically decided I'm going to try it. I'm going to test it. I've got access to my blue gum sawdust, and it works. The mushrooms grow beautifully on it. You will see on my channel there's some photos and stuff that I've put on for some of my previous harvests that I have had. And yes, it grows on blue gum sawdust mixed with wheat husks. So I get the wheat husks from the local feeding store. I buy my big 25 kilogram bags there, and then I mix it. So on every 5 kilograms of blue gum sawdust, I use 1.2 kilograms of my wheat husks, and then I mix it, and obviously with the water. And then I've got a barrel steamer outside that we make fire under it, and we steam it for normally 9 hours, and then we don't put in wood anymore. And the moment that wood is burned out, the substrate have to come out of the barrel steamer, because if you leave it in there, I've found that contaminations grow much quicker. So while my substrate is still hot, we then take everything out of the barrel steamer, move them into the incubation room where the air is cold, because this never goes up over 24 degrees Celsius. I try to keep it at the sweet spot of 23 degrees Celsius. So then my bags cool down very quickly. I'm sorry guys. Talking so much, I'm drying out my throat. Okay, so yes, this is what I'm doing. Once they cooled off, these ones came out last night 9:30, and now I'm going to inoculate them because they're room temperature now. You can't put your mycelium in hot sawdust, otherwise you're going to kill your mycelium. So yeah, let me get going. I'm talking so much and I actually want to get this stuff done. So yes, I'm spraying everything with my alcohol again. And I'm going to spray over my bags, and then I'm going to wipe them. I have actually already wiped everything with a bleach solution, but I like to take that extra step with a 70% alcohol, because it does kill the germs and any other contaminants that might be on here. So I've also sprayed my grain spawn bags. Just want to wipe it off in all the creases and everything. So this bag was inoculated on the 20th of August, and guys, this wolf's bloom is aggressive. It really wants to grow. I don't know if you can see, but there's like a little mushroom forming in there already, and it was in the fridge. There's another one quite big. So I really find that the wolf's bloom is growing aggressively, like they said, and it's amazing to see it. So I've got that bag wiped off. This bag was inoculated on the 15th of August and it is full. Oh, another interesting thing that I want to share with you guys. They call it mycelium pea, okay? That the mycelium start making in the mushrooms. Now, something that I've noticed with this wolf bloom, it makes this dark, almost brownish one if it's standing for a while. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. I've tried with my previous bags. I tested it and I thought, okay, you know what? If I get contamination, at least I didn't waste the 2 kilograms of grain spawn. But there's nothing wrong. I haven't seen any contamination growing on there. So I take that is the mycelium excretion that they basically is talking about. And I don't see anything wrong with it. It doesn't smell funny. It smells exactly the same as the other bags. So I believe it is all fine. So what I've done with my bags is I've already removed the rubber bands, because I put rubber bands around it before they go into the steamer. This mask feels like I'm back in COVID. So yes, I have put that on. I do not have the bags with the grow patches like these ones, or the filter patches that you can get. My bags are normal bags, polyprop bags, and they don't have the filter patches. But what I do is I've actually cut some pieces of pipe. This is conduit pipe and that is a 32mm water pipe. And then once I've inoculated it, I put this on there with a rubber band and a piece of sterile cotton wool. And that is the breathing space then that my mushrooms got. So all of those pipes was also cleaned in a bleach solution. Took them out to dry now. So I've already opened all my bags. And then what I'm going to be doing is I am going to open the bags and just roughly divide my grains between everything. Okay, let me just wipe all of these again with the alcohol after I sprayed them. Like I say, I've seen people doing this outside, but I'm not going to take that chance, because I've been throwing away hundreds of bags of substrate over the past year trying to figure out what is working for me. And at last I found the way that works for me best is doing it in this still air box, large one. Okay. Just get all of them wiped off. Properly clean. Okay, so now that I've wiped all of those, just want to take my scalpel, also clean this. So I use a scalpel to open my grain spawn bags. Just spray this with alcohol as well. Just spray my hands with it. And then I just put it on my piece of kitchen towel. Spray it again. Okay, so I've wiped my hands and everything now. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to open my first bag of my grain spawn, and then I'm going to be pouring it into these bags. But in order for me to be able to pour it in these bags, I'll just put this scalpel down. I'll firstly open my bags a little bit and just press it loose so that I can mix it in. I'll do that now. Just get them all open first. So each mushroom farmer will have their own way that works for them. Some people might look at me and say, hey, you're completely doing it wrong. With all respect, great, it might be wrong for some people, but this has been working for me. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. You want to get something that is working for you. There's hundreds and thousands of mushroom growers out there. You can get advice from everybody. But at the end of the day, you have to find what is working for you. And like I said, I've been testing it I must say there's a couple of amazing people that have been on my journey and really assisting me and helping me with advice. And I can definitely tell you guys it has been making a big difference for me. Because when you start off with something new, you're not always sure what to do. You try different things, watch all the YouTube videos that I can watch on mushroom growing, specifically lion's mane because I love it. And then at the end of the day, you find what's working for you. And sometimes I'm still uncertain about certain aspects. I do not know it all. I promise you guys, I don't know it all. I'm still learning every day. So I'm on some cultivation groups where people are amazingly willing to help you with advice and guidance. And that makes a big difference when you start growing mushrooms, that people are willing to assist you. Okay. So just so you guys can see there, let me just move this a little bit. I'm just cutting open, just cut off a little corner there. Open that, and then I just start pouring it into my bags. I used to measure it exactly, but now I eyeball it. I just try to divide it as evenly as possible between my bags, so that I know all of them get some in. I roughly try to work on about 10%. So my substrate bags are 1.4 to 1.5 kilos. And then I try to make enough bags that I roughly have 10% of my grain spawn. So I've got 2 kilograms of grain spawn per bag. And then I just try to equally divide it in between all of them, so that they all get some in it. I don't want to scoop it out because I don't want to have extra touch points on this. Let's open that one a bit bigger. Because the more touch points you have with your mycelium, the greater is your chances for contamination. And I'm trying to avoid that because that's a nightmare. Okay. Get all of those out. You don't want to waste any grain because each little piece has got mycelium on that can grow. Okay. Last little popcorn is out there. Just putting that aside. And then I'm going to be opening my second bag. That one open. So like I said, I haven't fruited any of this wolf's bloom strain. This is going to be a first for me, but I decided I definitely want to try it out. I only read up good things about it, and it's actually very exciting. And I get my grains all, I decided not to try to make my grains. So all my grains I actually buy. I buy it from Holy Shiitake and Honeydew. They courier it to you as well. And I just decided to buy is easier for me because I don't have all the lab equipment to make it. And I'm interested in production and farming, not all that fancy lab stuff. I don't have it, so I have to work with what I've got. And it was the best choice for me to decide to rather just buy in my grains. I'm not even doing grain to grain transfers anymore. I did that in the past, and I just decided, nope, I'm just going to buy my grains. This is a generation 1. So yes, to speed up my farming processes, this works great for me. You can farm cheaper if you actually make it yourself. Yes, I know that and I agree with that, but then you must also have the right equipment for it. So that's what I decided not to do it. I will work with what I've got and make it work, and it is working. Okay, so I'm just going around, putting a little bit more in each bag. So like I said, I don't measure it, I eyeball it. I roughly work out before the time how many bags I can inoculate with the grains that I've got available, and then I work on that, make so many bags, so then it should be roughly about 10%. Just to take the last pieces out there. So earlier I showed you guys, there you can see the brownish color, and that is the secretion that the mycelium gives off. So it is normal. I just don't think I'm going to be throwing those ones in there now. Okay. Alrighty, so now that I've got these ones in here, I close my bag at the top. Let me just turn this camera a little bit again. I close my bag at the top, I hold it closed, and then I gently massage this. Can't really see this now, but yes, I gently massage it, loosen up all the sawdust mixture, my substrate mix, so that I can mix in these grains as good as possible to get as much as possible contact points. Because the more contact points your grains have with the sawdust, the quicker it actually starts going through there. So I shake it up a little bit and just try to get it mixed in as good as possible. Okay, so once I've been doing this, let me just move my camera this side without dropping my stand off the table. Okay, once I've done this, I then take one of my pieces of water pipe that I've cut it. And like I say, it was already cleaned in a bleach solution. Then I just take my plastic bag and I put it through my pipe. And let me just grab my sterilized cotton wool here. Got a big bulky piece here. And then I open the bag up there and I just push a little piece of my cotton wool in. Because this works similar to a filter patch. My mycelium can actually breathe through that. Okay. So then all I do is I put my rubber band around there again, just to make sure I can just get it around there. I've got it sealed. Make sure my cotton wool is properly in there, that I don't have little air spaces. So you can see there, got the cotton wool in there properly. So that works as the filter patch, because the mycelium breathe out and they need oxygen, just like a human being, giving off CO2, and they need oxygen to come in there. So this one is ready and it goes onto the shelf. Once I've done all of these, I then label them with today's date so that I know exactly when I have inoculated them. Just want to close this off, and then to make sure there's nothing falling in there. Okay, so that way I will do it with all of them. I'm not going to bore you guys with the entire process, going step by step through this, because there's quite a lot of bags. Outside we're already currently busy making the next batch, so that tomorrow I can inoculate again with another 2 bags. I only have the 1 barrel steamer, so I do it on a daily basis, not every single day, but basically weekly, 2 days that I run it, and then we inoculate that way. So yes, firstly I want to say, guys, thank you for everybody that has been joining me on the live as well. It's the first time that I've gone live on TikTok with this now. So I really want to share with you guys my journey. That is how I believe we can share knowledge with each other, and people can learn about mushroom growing. Let me just take this off. I've folded all of them close now. I can breathe. It's really getting a bit hard talking with this mask on all the time. So yes, I want to say thank you for all of you who have been joining. I will be sharing videos going forward on the processes as well, like I mentioned to you guys. And I will also do some videos on how I cook the lion's mane with different exciting recipes for you guys. I personally love fire cooking, so I will be doing quite a lot of different fire cooking methods with the lion's mane mushrooms that I will definitely share with you guys. But thank you for everyone who have joined live. I see there's currently 76 people on there. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and I would love you guys to please follow my page so that I can share my lion's mane growing journey with you. If there's anyone interested in buying some fresh lion's mane, you can definitely also contact me. Like I mentioned, I've cleaned out my fruiting rooms and everything 2 weeks ago. Proper clean down. That is also very, very necessary. So the next ones will most possibly, the first ones that's in inoculation now, will most possibly go into fruiting within a week's time. And then it takes another week or 2 before we have proper fruits. But if there's anyone interested, especially chefs, guys, you can give your customers the most amazing culinary experiences with lion's mane, because it's such a diverse mushroom. You can do so much with it. You can make so many dishes from lion's mane, and not just for vegan or vegetarian. It's just such a lovely mushroom. You don't have to be vegan or vegetarian to enjoy lion's mane mushroom. You can use it in so many dishes, and it's just so amazing. But yes, guys, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who has been joining me, thank you so much. I'm gonna switch this off now, and then I'm gonna finish up closing all my bags with substrate, and I will share with you guys again. Thank you very much. Now I must just figure out how do I stop this to start off with. Because it's the first time live for me. So this is still a learning process. Oh, there we go. Thanks everybody. Bye bye.